hometown station real estate and financial guides are back on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS, to share with you what you need to know in order to navigate the sometimes confusing markets and guide you toward financial wellness. Reach out to them for advice at 855-DON-GINO. And now back to your hosts, Don Getling and Gino Franti.
Well, thank you again for joining the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show every Thursday from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m., giving you entertainment and education all at the same time for 2 hours every week, now for over 2.5 years. Can you believe that, Gino?
Oh, no. First of all, I can't believe that. And I was thinking of one of our quasi-slogans is guiding you to personal and financial wellness. And
There's nothing quasi about that. That's what we do.
It's just a quasi-slogan. It is what we do.
Okay.
But I was thinking about that. And over the last 2 years, we kind of measured up. The last show was a $300,000 show or a $400,000 show, and the advice that we gave out. I think every show is that. And you think about the cumulative value of 2.5 years of those shows. We've made people millions.
Millions. You got to put your pinky next to your cheek. And if you want to join us, you can join us at donandgino.com, donandgino.com, where you can listen, watch, and chat live with us now. And you can ask questions from us or, of course, our great guest today, who's back by popular demand, Mr. Jim Backer with JSB Development. Thank you for joining us again, Jim.
You bet.
He's always got great insight of what has happened in our market. But, Jim, I have to... because Joe Messina's coming up next. We call us propagandists. And what's funny is that you were there at our office, because Jim, we lease our office from him. Fortunately, we love being involved with Jim. He takes great care of us. And you heard us beating the drum over and over and telling people and yelling at people to please take advantage of the best real estate market you will ever see in your life, with rates being all-time lows, prices being all-time lows, and we were telling people to jump in because eventually rates and prices are going to go up. And you heard this going on. And now, what's happened?
It's coming. It's coming. Well, I think we were talking about the commercial markets before, and I'll switch to office for a second. Office a couple of years ago, probably as recently as 18 months ago, was 30% vacant on our most generous discussion, and that's just the way it was. And so people saw empty space around, people saw companies leaving, empty buildings, and there were a few oddballs out there. The Borax building was kind of a tough building because you had two buildings there, and one was about 85,000, one was about 32, and is someone really going to keep both, or because that was set up for their needs? And Kaiser came along and bought it, and they're going to renovate the building for their needs, and so that took a big amount of space off the market. And another thing that's kind of been happening is we kind of break down office to kind of three different types: professional, medical, and what we call corporate. And the professional is the folks like us that have a business, and whether it's mortgage or real estate or
provide
finance,
a service of some kind.
A service of some kind, or run an operation, back office for somebody or whatever.
Right.
And then medical is any kind of medical use: dentist, physician, physical therapy, chiropractor, whatever. And the medical growth has been tremendous in the last 10 years. I mean, we've had probably.
Well, I quit racing professional motocross. It shouldn't be that bad now.
People followed you into far other things, more things that got them in trouble. But I think part of that's a late reflection of our growth. We're 275,000 people now, and I think even the medical community saw more opportunity maybe to be here than there was before. And then the third one is the corporate world, which would be the Princess Cruises of the world, Advanced Bionics, people like that. And that traditionally is kind of where we've struggled on the consistency, because corporations unfortunately aren't always based here, so decisions gets made elsewhere, and they don't care about Santa Clarita, Valencia, and they off they go. But I think that as LA continues to get more expensive, as we talked about earlier, that will become more of a feature for that. And again, I think our employment base is one of the things that we lead with. We have a very high educational factor when you look at our community and what kind of education people have, whether it's finishing high school, college, graduate school. We compare very favorable to the communities like Beverly Hills and the West Valley and places like that. And
a lot cheaper, though.
Yeah, well, yeah, there you go. And
I think COC is doing a great job with that. I mean, every time I hear more and more about COC, it seems like they're focusing more on occupational and finding ways to get people into jobs right out of college rather than just saying, here's your degree, good luck, see you later.
Right, and they've done the University Center, which has brought more opportunity closer to town as well in the community. But office is probably down to the mid-teens in terms of vacancy, so it's had a tremendous amount of absorption, thanks to folks like you and others. And we're seeing the formation of new businesses that weren't here before. So it's not
That's
just
a good sign.
It's not just the musical chairs deal or expansion of the current person, which is all great. But it's people starting a new business, coming in and saying, hey, I have a friend that just, got funding for a biotech company, and, he's going to be adding employees and office space, et cetera. And then retail, we talked about briefly, is a little, still touch and go with all the stuff going on the internet and all. It's just tougher and tougher for the retail folks. And also, they have had zero growth in the last 5 years in this community, virtually. I mean, so when people come to the community, if you're building 2,000 homes a year, you're getting 6,000 to 7,000 people a year coming here with all the things they got to buy and to live and all that. So that's about to start to change again, we think.
Okay. Well, good insights from Jim Backer with JSB Development on the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show. And speaking of retail, how's your latest project coming along? Let's see, Vista Canyon?
Yeah, well, Vista Canyon.
I have to ask because that's a pretty exciting thing.
Well, we're excited about it. It's coming along. We were approved in May of 2011. We were sued in June of 2011, which is kind of
you were excited for like
kind of a
minutes.
two-step, And unfortunately, we're still in that case. We had a decision from the Superior Court, which supported us on 10 of the 12 items that were brought against us. The 2 items that they did not support us were items that you wouldn't probably judge mission critical to the project. If they want the EIR corrected, that's fine, but they weren't things that are going to change the project of any kind. We tried to see if we could work it out with the court to fix what those things were and move forward, and we weren't successful, so we've had to appeal the decision. And so we're probably another year before we'll know where that is. And unfortunately, during that year, we're prevented from moving forward on the project.
That's important. Why don't we give a little bit more? Believe it or not, Jim, when I speak to people about Vista Canyon and that what it is and that it's coming, believe it or not, a lot of people don't have a clue that you're working on building a secondary base in another town center in Cane Country.
Right. Yeah, we are. It's a town center with essentially the basic coverage is 1,100 homes, about 1 million square feet of commercial, but a mix of commercial. So that would be a retail in a town center, ground floor retail environment, just like Town Center Drive in Valencia, with office above. We'll most likely have a theater. We'll most likely have a grocery store within the walking area. It's a walkable site. It's about a mile.
Well, you got to walk. You're working on train, bus. I mean, basically.
The city has worked with Metrolink to relocate the Via Princesa train station, which is about 2 miles to the south, to our site.
Wow.
So the Via Princesa station would then become used for other things, which we've been working on with the city on what that might become. Because they own that. The bus transfer station would be equal to the one they have at Valencia McBean, so that you'd have coverage on both sides of the valley, which saves the buses, believe it or not, from driving all the way back to the west side at night and coming all the way back in the morning. So there's a good benefit there to everyone. And then we have a mix of apartments for sale product. We have a 10-acre park, 4 miles of trails. And then, kind of unique to this valley, we have a water reclamation plant.
Yeah, how about that? So, a small project you're working on.
No, it's
well, I think ultimately
only 7.5 years.
Yeah.
Which is not an eternity in commercial. I mean, it seems like it is, but it's not an eternity, and it sounds like it's going to be great for us. And it's just a matter of getting through the red tape, like you've done successfully for the last 20, 30 years.
28 years, 30 years you've been in this business?
29.
Well,
past 29.
Well, thank you for taking time out of your really, obviously, very busy schedule, being such a great man, great landlord to us, and a great friend, and thank you for sharing the insights today.
My pleasure.
Very cool. Well, thank you for joining us today on the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show. We had a great show today with Mark Thompson, Mark and Brian fame, and Jim Backer with JSB Development. And coming up is what's happening in the real estate market today with Brandon Montemayor with Keller Williams VIP Properties. the market's shifting. You need to find out why when we come up in just a few minutes.